I grew up in a small house on the edge of Denver. The walls were thin, and the silence between meals felt heavier than noise. My sister Aria was the sun in that house. Every photo, every conversation revolved around her light. She was beautiful, confident, destined for attention. I was the quiet one, the filler child, the afterthought. When she smiled, people listened. When I spoke, they nodded politely and turned away. Mom used to say Aria was born for the camera. Dad called her our golden girl. They called me practical, responsible, safe. Those words sounded like praise, but they were walls. Aria got her first modeling job at 13. The living room filled with her glossy magazine covers. My drawings stayed tucked under my bed, unseen. Every compliment for her came with a comparison for me. Why don't you smile like your sister? Why can't you be more confident? I learned early how to shrink without anyone noticing. In school, I disappeared into my grades. Books became my escape, paper my refuge. When teachers praised me, it felt like stolen light. I hid every good thing before Aria could take it apart. The night before my high school graduation, I ironed my gown alone. Mom helped Aria pack for a photo shoot instead. They promised to come after. When I stood on stage, valedictorian speech in hand, their seats were empty. I kept smiling, pretending it didn't matter. It always mattered. At home, they talked about Aria's campaign instead of my award. Dad said, "You should be proud of your sister." I whispered, "I am," even when pride tasted like rust. The house became smaller after that. Every corner echoed her name. I learned to tiptoe through my own life. At 18, I got a job at a design shop downtown. Mrs. Chan, my English teacher, helped me apply. She was the first adult who ever looked at me and saw potential. "You have an eye for detail," she said. Her words stitched something inside me back together. I started saving money, every paycheck folded into a jar. By 23, I finally moved out. No more quiet dinners. No more invisible celebrations. Just me and the hum of my own choices. Freedom was strange at first. It smelled like coffee and paper and late night sketching. I rented a tiny apartment above a bookstore. Sometimes, I still caught myself checking my phone, waiting for approval that never came. But the silence there was mine. No comparisons. No shadows. I built a life, one small victory at a time. And for a while, I believed distance could heal everything. I believed that love, any love, could fill the spaces my family never did. I didn't know then that Aria would find a way to reach across that distance. I didn't know she would still find a way to break what I built. I met Ethan on a Tuesday morning. He spilled his coffee across my sketches and froze like a child caught stealing. I laughed for the first time in weeks. He offered to buy me another drink, and we talked until the cafe closed. He asked about my designs, and he actually listened. No one ever listened before. We talked about colors, architecture, and broken families. He told me his parents believed in second chances. I told him mine didn't believe in me at all. He didn't flinch. He just smiled and said, "Then we'll make our own kind of family." We started dating quietly, without drama, without noise. He showed up when he said he would. He remembered the names of my coworkers, my deadlines, my dreams. When he introduced me to his parents, Patricia hugged me first. Henry asked to see my sketchbook. They remembered details I'd forgotten I shared. They came to my first small gallery showing. They clapped the loudest. For the first time, I felt seen. Not compared. Not tolerated. Just seen. Ethan proposed after 2 years, under the autumn lights of a downtown park. It was simple, quiet, perfect. When I called my mother, she said, "That's nice, dear." Then she talked about Aria's new campaign for a skincare brand. I stood there holding the phone, smiling into the void. A week later, Aria invited me to dinner. Her tone was syrupy sweet. "Tell me everything," she said, eyes glinting. When I mentioned the date, her lips twitched. "Oh, that weekend. I'm thinking of getting married too, maybe even the same day." I choked on my wine. She shrugged, pretending it was harmless. "People can just go to both, right?" I wanted to scream. Instead, I smiled. It's what I'd always done. 2 months later, she sent out her invitations. Same venue. 90 minutes before my ceremony. Her guest list 3 times longer. Her dress designed by someone famous. Mine, handmade and paid for piece by piece. When I asked my parents why they didn't say anything, Mom sighed. "Sweetheart, Aria's wedding will bring publicity to the family. Yours will be lovely too." Lovely. The word clung to me like dust. Ethan tried to keep me calm. "Let her have the noise," he said. "We'll have the meaning." But the cracks were forming. Aria started posting about her exclusive venue online. Her followers congratulated her on the fairy tale. Each post felt like a taunt. Then came the message that shattered what was left of my patience. "Hope everything's ready, sis. Oh, I might invite some of Ethan's relatives to mine. They'll love it." I stared at the screen, my chest tight. Years of silence, obedience, forgiveness. All boiling into one sharp thought. She would ruin my day if I let her. But I wouldn't. Not this time. Not anymore. The morning we visited the venue, the air felt heavy. Ethan held my hand as we walked through the marble lobby. The sunlight spilled through tall glass windows, too bright to feel warm. Our planner, Claire, smiled nervously beside us. She kept checking her clipboard as if expecting bad news. When the coordinator appeared, I knew something was wrong. Her smile was polished, professional, fragile. "Miss Lane," she said softly, "there's been a small change." My stomach tightened. "What change?" "You've been moved to the Maple Room." I blinked. "That's not possible. We booked the Cedar Hall months ago." "The request came from your sister," she said. "She told us she was helping coordinate both weddings." Ethan's grip on my hand tightened. Claire's voice sharpened. "I'm her planner. No such request was made." The woman hesitated, glancing at her tablet. "Aria said you approved it verbally." My pulse pounded in my ears. I could hear my mother's laugh, echoing down the hallway. "Of course Aria needs the larger hall," she said somewhere out of sight. "The cedar space suits her guests better." I froze. They were here. My parents. Standing with her. I stepped aside, pressing a hand to the cold wall. The Maple Room. Smaller. Plain walls. No view of the mountains. Second best. Always second best. Ethan leaned close. "Say the word and we'll leave," he whispered. I shook my head. "No, she won't take this from me." We walked into the Maple Room together. It smelled faintly of dust and fresh paint. Claire whispered something about rearranging the decor to make it brighter. I nodded, pretending to care. Inside, something hard was forming, sharp and steady. Aria had crossed every line. And my parents had held the door open for her. That evening, Ethan called to check in. His voice was calm, but his words trembled with anger. "Tom, her fiancé, called me," he said. He suggested we merge the weddings to save face. My throat went dry. "What did you say?" "I said I'd marry you in a courthouse tomorrow if I had to." Tears burned behind my eyes. He wasn't angry for himself. He was angry for me. My phone buzzed again. A message from Dad. "Don't make this difficult, Lana. Your sister just needs more attention." The same line I'd heard all my life. For a moment, I almost laughed. It was absurd. All of it. Later, Ethan showed up at my apartment with takeout and quiet eyes. We ate in silence until I broke down. "I've spent 27 years trying to be seen," I whispered. They never once looked at me. He took my hand. "I see you," he said. My parents see you. Everyone who matters does. I wanted to believe him. And somewhere deep down, I did. But I also knew something else. Aria had started a war. And this time, I was done surrendering. The morning of the wedding arrived with pale sunlight. I stood before the mirror, tracing the seam of my repaired gown. The cut was nearly invisible now, but I still felt it beneath my fingers. It reminded me that beauty can survive damage. The makeup artist smiled softly. "You look perfect, Lana." I smiled back, though my chest was trembling. Then came the knock. The door swung open, without waiting for my answer. Aria stepped in, shimmering in her designer gown. Her hair glowed like glass, her perfume filled the room. "Oh, you're still getting ready," she said, voice dripping sugar. "I just wanted to see if you needed anything before my ceremony starts." I felt my jaw tighten. Her eyes flicked to my simple pearls, her smile sharpened. "Mom thought you might want something grander, something to match the occasion." The word occasion sounded like a weapon. "We're fine," I said. My voice came out calm, steadier than I expected. She lingered, pretending concern. "That's what big sisters do, right? We help." I turned from the mirror. "You've helped enough, please leave." For a heartbeat, her mask cracked. Surprise flickered in her eyes. Then she laughed softly. "Good luck, little sister." The door closed behind her. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. Mom came next, her lavender suit perfectly matched to Aria's color theme. She carried a box and a list in her hand. "Sweetheart, about the music," she began. "I think it would be better if you used the same orchestra as your sister." "The music is already set," I said quietly. She frowned. "Wouldn't it be easier to just join theirs, save you money?" I met her gaze in the mirror. "No." Her voice rose. "Lana, be reasonable." I turned fully to face her. "This is my wedding, not Aria's encore." Her lips pressed into a thin line. "You've always been so stubborn." "I learned from the best," I said, and opened the door for her to leave. When she was gone, the silence felt holy. For the first time, I wasn't a shadow. I was a woman, standing in her own light. My phone buzzed. A message from Ethan. "Her guests are arriving early. Dad's taking notes. Love you." I laughed softly, the tension melting from my shoulders. Whatever Henry was planning, I trusted him. The ceremony began an hour later. No father to walk me down the aisle. No mother pretending pride. Just me. My steps steady, my heart open. Ethan's eyes met mine, shining with quiet love. 50 guests filled the small room, every face familiar and kind. Each smile was real. Each tear belonged. When I reached him, he whispered, "You're extraordinary." And for the first time, I believed it. Our vows were simple, raw, true. He promised me a home built from honesty, not approval. I promised him peace after chaos. As we kissed, the world outside no longer mattered. For that one moment, it was finally my day. The reception began softly, strings echoing through the small ballroom. I was still floating, dizzy from the vows, from Ethan's steady hands. Then I noticed something strange. The room was filling with people I didn't recognize. Men in tailored suits. Women in gowns that shimmered like champagne. Claire leaned close. "Did we add more guests?" I shook my head. Ethan smiled quietly, eyes sparkling with mischief. "Just wait," he murmured. Across the room, Henry checked his watch. Patricia whispered something, hiding a grin. I felt the air shift before I saw her. Aria stood in the doorway, frozen mid-step. Her perfect hair, her perfect dress, her perfect confusion. Her eyes darted from face to face, realizing these were her guests. The ones meant for her grand reception. Henry rose slowly, lifting his glass. "Ah, Aria," he said, voice smooth as silk. "Welcome to my son's wedding. Isn't it magnificent?" Gasps rippled across the crowd. Aria's cheeks turned pale. These people were supposed to. Henry cut in gently. Half of them work for my firm. I thought it'd be easier if everyone celebrated together. The room burst into quiet laughter. Ethan squeezed my hand under the table. Tom appeared moments later, tie crooked, face flushed. He stormed toward Aria. What did you do? He hissed. Everyone from my company. Here. The partners, the clients, this is a disaster. She tried to smile, voice trembling. I just wanted to congratulate my sister. He grabbed her wrist. Stop pretending. You used me, Aria. The argument grew louder. People turned, pretending not to listen but unable to look away. My parents entered then, smiling proudly until they saw the scene. Mom froze, her coral dress catching the light like a warning. Dad blinked, confused, muttering my name. Henry greeted them with polite warmth that felt like steel. As a father, he said clearly, I wouldn't miss my child's wedding for anything. The words hit like thunder. Dad's mouth opened, but no sound came out. Aria's fight with Tom escalated. He threw up his hands. I'm done. Enjoy your empty reception. And then he walked out. Silence fell. A waiter approached Ethan, whispering something. Ethan's lips curved in a quiet smile. Her ballroom is empty, he murmured. Only 12 people showed up. I didn't gloat. I just breathed. For once, justice didn't need noise. My parents turned to me, faces soft, eager, desperate. Lana, you've always been the strong one, Mom said. Dad nodded. We're proud of you, truly. The words no longer mattered. I looked at them and felt nothing but distance. You don't get to say that now, I said. I already built a life without you. I gestured to a staff member. Please escort these guests out. They're not on our list. Their protests faded as the doors closed. Ethan pulled me close. The music swelled again, lighter, freer. We began our first dance, surrounded by people who truly chose to be there. For the first time, the air around me felt clean. This was what family really meant. 10 days after the wedding, peace settled like a blanket. The ocean, outside our cottage, whispered against the rocks. Ethan poured wine, smiling as if nothing in the world could touch us. My phone buzzed again and again on the table. I didn't look. Aria's name lit the screen 20 times. Please call me. Tom left. Mom and Dad are devastated. I turned the phone face down. Not tonight. Ethan raised a brow. More family drama. I nodded. The usual, I'm done playing their part. He took my hand, his thumb tracing circles over my skin. Then don't answer. Let silence be your message. For 10 days, I did. When we came home, the apartment felt lighter. The air didn't carry their weight anymore. The wedding photos arrived in a neat white box. I opened it with a mix of fear and wonder. Every picture glowed with laughter. My repaired dress caught the light. Ethan's eyes never left mine. Henry and Patricia stood beside us, proud and strong. Not one image included my parents. I realized how complete that felt. The phone buzzed again. 14 voicemails from Mom. 8 from Dad. 23 from Aria. I deleted them all. 3 days later, the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, I saw her. Aria. Shoulders slumped, eyes swollen, hair undone. I hesitated, but opened the door. She stepped inside, fragile and trembling. Can I talk to you? Ethan looked up from his laptop. Your call, he said softly. Stay, I told him. Aria's voice cracked. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I said nothing. She wiped at her eyes. Tom said I humiliated him. Everyone hates me. I crossed my arms. You humiliated yourself. Her lips trembled. I just wanted a perfect wedding. I walked to my desk and opened my laptop. Let me show you something. The video played in silence. Security footage from the boutique. her entering through the back door, the scissors flashing in her hand, her cutting the dress. Color drained from her face. "How did you get that?" she whispered. "The owner recognized you. Her daughter follows your Instagram." I clicked to another file. A group chat between her and our parents. Mom's words glowed on screen. "Just make sure you outshine her. We'll cover the costs." Dad's reply, "She'll survive, you're the star." Aria stared at the screen, shaking. "Those were private." "So was my wedding," I said quietly. Tears fell, real ones this time. "I'm sorry, Lana. I didn't know how to stop." "I forgive you," I said. Her head jerked up. "Not because you deserve it, because I do." She nodded weakly. "What about Mom and Dad?" "The same. When they want help, they'll know where to find it." I opened the door. She hesitated, then whispered, "I really am sorry." "I know," I said. The door closed softly behind her. Ethan wrapped his arms around me from behind. "You okay?" "Better than okay." For the first time, I felt weightless. Freedom wasn't loud. It was quiet. Steady. Mine. 6 months passed, and life finally felt real. The mornings were bright. The air smelled like peace. Ethan brewed coffee, while sunlight danced across our kitchen. I arranged lilies in a crystal vase, smiling at how ordinary it felt. Henry and Patricia were coming for brunch. They never forgot birthdays, milestones, or small victories. Their love was quiet, consistent enough. My freelance projects grew each month. Clients called me by name, not as someone's sister. Every design carried a piece of the life I rebuilt. That evening, a knock echoed at the door. A small package sat on the porch. Inside lay a single white rose and a handwritten note. "I'm getting help. Take all the time you need." It was Aria's handwriting, softer than before. I placed the rose in water and set the note aside. Some wounds don't close neatly, but they stop bleeding. Ethan found me by the window, his arms warm around my waist. "It's okay," I said, meaning every word. We were okay. Family wasn't the people who broke you. It was the ones who stayed to help you heal. And for the first time, I wasn't surviving. I was living.